Hello everyone, in this video, I'll be translating and summarizing the latest Urdu broadcast by Moeed Pirzada to make it accessible for our English-speaking audience. Let's go through the key developments and insights in Moeed Pirzada's words. I have many important and interesting developments in front of me. Some relate to Pakistan, some relate to India, some relate to the dynamics between India and America, and some relate to how Donald Trump, inside America, is trying to reorganize American politics in relation to India and Pakistan permanently. These developments are also connected to the news emerging from inside Israel, about Gaza, about Hamas, about how Israel is treating Hamas, and what the dynamics of Egypt and Turkey are within the Middle East. All of these matters are connected, and along with this, I also have some quick analysis. That's why my attempt will be to quickly cover these things at a 1.5 speed pace. But before I move toward these matters, I want to make a quick comment on that interview or discussion I did yesterday with an important leader of Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf, Mr. Qasim Khan Suri, which I released on GVS News. It was a discussion of about 1 hour and 20 minutes in length. I feel that not enough people watched it compared to how many should have. Because in it, Qasim Khan Suri explained, along with his own political struggle, how Imran Khan, after 1996 to 97, gradually, bit by bit, drop by drop, grain by grain, struggled to build Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf into an all-Pakistan political force and identity. At one stage in that discussion, I could not control my tears. Many of you may not have understood why, that I could not explain at that moment. The reason is this. When Qasim Khan Suri began mentioning how Imran Khan struggled to bring the Baloch youth into PTI and inspired them, it reminded me of a conversation I once had with Imran Khan after a televised interview off the record. In that conversation, Imran Khan had told me, "Moeed, we must inspire the Baloch youth. We must give them a vision of Pakistan so that we can bring them out of their sense of alienation and loneliness and make them feel that this Pakistan, its politics and its future, is their future, and within it they can find their future." And when Qasim Khan Suri was describing how Imran was inspiring the Baloch youth, those words of Imran came back to me vividly. Moving forward, Sohail Warich. Sahib made a tweet explaining himself, especially when, I believe, he came to know that some people had filed a kind of staged or managed FIR against him, accusing him of misrepresenting or twisting the words of the current army chief, General Asim Munir. So, Sohail Warich Sahib issued several explanations afterwards. One of those explanations was a long tweet in Urdu, where he described his lifelong role, how since the time of General Zia-ul-Haq he raised his voice, how he interviewed Dr. Abdul Qadir Khan, how he spoke against Musharraf, how he stood by Nawaz Sharif at a time when no one else did. I think Dr. Shahbaz Gill responded in great detail to Sohail Warich, very interestingly. There is, of course, a love-hate relationship between Shahbaz Gill and Sohail Warich. Shahbaz Gill said everything that needed to be said, but in addition to Warich's own defence, I want to add 2 or 3 small observations. In his long Urdu tweet, Sohail Warich himself made clear that he has always remained at the centre, as a kind of middle-of-the-road intellectual, never crossing certain limits. He is not a revolutionary, not an insurgent. He is essentially a reporter, someone who brings the messages of all sides, General Zia-ul-Haq's message, General Musharraf's message, Nawaz Sharif's message. He conveys them, but never goes beyond certain limits. Now for Sohail Sahib, let me give you 2 interesting examples that explain the situation he is in. 1. In ancient times, it is said that a lion and a goat once drank from the same river. The lion stood a few feet above, the goat a few feet below, and water was flowing downwards. The lion urinated in the water, then suddenly accused the goat. "You have dirtied the water," the goat pleaded. "Your Majesty, the water is flowing from your side to mine. How could I pollute it?" The lion then pounced, killed the goat and ate it, saying, "How dare you argue with the king?" So Sohail Warich Sahib knows very well that you cannot argue with the king. He also knows that the king and his team have used him for their own purposes. And now he is playing the role of the second astrologer, Najumi, in another old story. A king once dreamt that all his teeth had fallen out. He called his chief astrologer and asked for the interpretation. The astrologer said, "Your Majesty, it means all of your loved ones and relatives will die before your eyes." The king got angry and had him executed. Then the king summoned another astrologer, trembling in fear, who gave the same interpretation, but with different words. "Your Majesty, it means you will live the longest of all your family." The king laughed, rewarded him and said, "You know how to speak." That is the role Sohail Warich Sahib is now playing. He knows how to phrase things carefully. He understands the delicacy of his situation. But the real litmus test is this: if GHQ is truly angry with him, then he will not be able to return to Pakistan for many months. That will become clear in a few days. My guess, however, is that he will return to Pakistan soon, keep quiet for a bit, and everything will normalize. Because when situations truly turn bad, the example of Sabir Shakir is before you. In 2022, when the whole saga was unfolding, he received a message from General Baqwa, and since then he has not been able to return to Pakistan. His heart is still in Pakistan, but he cannot return. Sohail Warich, on the other hand, I believe will be back in Pakistan within days, and both the lion and the goat will again be drinking from the same river, unlike that poor goat who was devoured. Moving forward, Imran Khan's sister, Alima Khan's sons. First Shahzad Khan was sent on 8 days remand, and now Shershah Khan has been sent on 5 days remand. It is not clear what GHQ's strategy is here, what they want to achieve, what calculations are behind it. Amnesty International has already condemned it, calling it systematic abuse and targeting of PTI and the opposition, aimed at silencing dissenting voices. Amnesty has demanded their release. My analysis is, after 8 and 5 days, both brothers will likely be released. GHQ's aim seems only to spread fear and intimidation. Their exact logic, however, I still find puzzling. Next, PPP and PMLN have announced that in the upcoming by-elections where PTI's seats were vacated, they will contest together, fielding joint candidates instead of running against each other. This was revealed in a joint press conference by Hanif Abbasi, Raja Pervez Ashraf and others. The real message was that PPP and PMLN are so weak they cannot even contest elections individually anymore. They want to give the impression of strength through unity. But in reality, 0 plus 0 is still 0. Only when these parties genuinely confront the military establishment and ISI will their politics revive. Until then, people know the difference between real and staged contests. Moving forward, there is a positive development. Pakistan's current Foreign Minister and Deputy PM, Ishaq Dar, has reached Bangladesh on an official state visit, the first in 13 years. He has been warmly welcomed, meeting Bangladesh's acting head of state and government, Dr. Muhammad Yunus, as well as their acting Foreign Minister, Commerce Minister, and delegations from various parties. Pakistan's Foreign Office emphasized that it has relations with all political groups in Bangladesh, not just one faction. However, noticeably, there was no meeting with Awami League representatives, which means the picture is incomplete. Because despite their unpopularity, Awami League remains a major political reality in Bangladesh, backed by India. The challenge is, if Pakistan's foreign policy can use Bangladesh as a bridge between India and Pakistan, it would be a positive direction. But my fear is that this vision is not civilian. It originates from ISI's desk. And if you read Indian newspapers carefully, they suspect that the uprising against Sheikh Hasina was backed by US intelligence and Pakistan's ISI. Whether true or not, that is their perception. They have gone to Bangladesh. So if we talk about the vision of the Dr. Sahib and those behind him, what exactly is that vision? Basically, it is the vision of the ISI. The idea is that Bangladesh should become our ally in the region against New Delhi and India. But this is absolutely a failed vision. The real vision should be that Bangladesh should be an ally of both Pakistan and India, playing the role of a bridge between the two. That should be the direction of Pakistan's foreign policy. Now, God knows better what their direction actually is, but I suspect that their direction is still the same, that Bangladesh should be our ally, our brother, and together we will resist India's dominance and hegemony, and so on and so forth. But this is not going to work, as per this small student of international relations. This strategy will backfire. We won't be able to sustain it. Now, since India has been mentioned, let's see this. India's Postal Department has temporarily suspended all postal packages to the United States. Why did they do this? Because the Trump administration, Donald Trump's government, has decided that all postal packages entering the United States, which earlier had exemptions up to around $800 or $1,000 with no duties or tariffs, will now be taxed. Every package above a certain value will require advance collection of tariffs and duties by the cargo companies bringing them. America, from a trade perspective, has never been such a closed market. Donald Trump, of course, is trying to collect revenue, reduce expenses, and gather money. But this also sends many other signals. So, India has temporarily stopped trade, and perhaps other countries may do the same. On the one hand, this is happening. On the other, there is another development. Donald Trump is trying to balance America's budget, penny by penny. Yet increasingly, news is spreading, worrying both Americans and Trump himself. The BRICS countries are planning to launch their own currency. This would be a difficult step because the dominance of the United States dollar is enormous. Around 50 to 60% of global reserve currency is still the dollar, about 47% as of now. Ending dollar dominance is not easy, but a symbolic BRICS currency has already been presented. A $50 and $100 equivalent BRICS note has been designed and presented to world leaders, including President Putin. The plan is to launch this currency formally at the 2026 summit. Now, can this really be launched? As I said, there are many practical difficulties. The momentum increased after 2022, when Russia was cut off from SWIFT banking systems. Since then, Putin, with China, has invested heavily into this. The Russians are determined, and Iran is also strongly in favor, but others may back out at the last moment. I believe India is the weakest link here. India will never risk such a big confrontation with the United States by joining a struggle against the dollar. Even China itself is uncertain what it will do in the end. Brazil may stand firm. Still, this is an important move. Remember, a few days ago when Donald Trump lashed out against India, one reason he gave was India's role in BRICS, where it seemed to be siding against the dollar. Meanwhile, Trump's administration is not just focused on cost-cutting within the United States. It is also targeting political opponents. Downsizing of bureaucracy is being used as an excuse, but the real aim is to target anyone suspected of being sympathetic to Democrats or disagreeing with Trump. The latest example is from just the last 24 hours. Lieutenant General Jeffrey Cruz, who headed Pentagon intelligence, was dismissed by Defense Secretary Pete Sett, along with 4 or 5 other top military officials. Since Trump's government came into power, dozens of senior military officers have been dismissed without clear reasons. Even those dismissed don't know why. But analysts say that General Jeffrey Cruz's team had submitted a report stating that United States airstrikes on Iran only set back its nuclear program by a few months. Whereas Trump and his team loudly claimed that Iran's program had been completely obliterated forever. Because defense intelligence contradicted Trump's narrative, Cruz was dismissed. The point is, anyone, anywhere, who criticizes or disagrees with Donald Trump cannot expect safety. Just yesterday, as I mentioned in my previous vlog, even John Bolton, Trump's own former national security advisor and United States ambassador to the UN, had his home raided by the FBI in a prestigious Washington neighborhood. This resembled how Imran Khan once angrily sent FIA agents to Mohsin Baig's house in Pakistan. That incident led to chaos, shooting and violence. I had said back then that Imran Khan set a dangerous precedent, but such things happen in Pakistan and even in India. For example, how the Aam Aadmi Party has been targeted, or Rahul Gandhi faced legal cases, but such things never happened in America. Now they are happening. This is a very dangerous trend for American politics. On top of this, reports say Trump wants to control American politics through redistricting, much like in Pakistan. The aim is to cripple the Democratic Party entirely. Another update. Attorney General Pam Bondi has been rapidly revoking security clearances of many former top officials, each time she says it's done with the president's advice or approval. Among those stripped of clearance are former President Joe Biden, Vice President Kamala Harris, and even 2 former CIA directors. It's unclear what the practical significance is since they're no longer in government. Perhaps it will help in building cases against them. But it's bad news for American politics moving forward. Now, about Pakistan's iron brother China. Their J-35 fighter jet, an excellent aircraft comparable to the American F-35, is not selling. Reports say even Pakistan, despite its close ties with China, is not buying it. The plane itself has no flaws. In fact, it may even be superior, with capabilities to coordinate multiple weapon systems mid-air. So why is it not selling? Because of stringent conditions. The Chinese demand that their own technicians and engineers be stationed in the buyer country, and the plane's cyber systems would remain linked to China's mainframe. No country is comfortable with these implications, including Pakistan. Until China changes these strict conditions, they won't be able to sell the J-35A. Despite heavy investment, it is not selling. Now moving to Gaza, Israel, Netanyahu, Trump and Middle Eastern politics. Israel's left-leaning paper, Haaretz, very critical of Netanyahu, published some striking analyses. One by Jack Cowrie is titled "Why Hamas is Backing a Gaza Deal It Earlier Rejected." This is the same deal Hamas rejected months ago when it was brought by United States envoy Steve Koft. Why did Hamas now accept it? Because Hamas has become isolated. The Palestinian Authority, dominated by Fatah and Mahmoud Abbas, along with Egypt and Turkey, pressured Hamas. They had hoped Trump might intervene sympathetically, but he is firmly aligned with Netanyahu. Meanwhile, Israel's military siege has crushed Gaza's daily life. Food, water, everything is cut off. According to this analysis, even ordinary Gazans now want to rid themselves of Hamas. With no options left, Hamas had to accept the deal. Historically, Romans specialized in this strategy, besieged the enemy until they had no way out. Interestingly, General Asim Munir in Pakistan is applying the same siege strategy against Imran Khan and PTI. But there is a difference. Israel's external enemy is Palestinians, an existential conflict. Asim Munir's enemy is Pakistan's largest political party, backed by 75 to 80% of the people. He has cut off their food and water figuratively, fighting internally while also facing Baloch nationalists, BLA and BLF, TTP, Afghan immigrants, migrants, PTI and social media. Everyone has become his enemy. May God have mercy on Pakistan and on General Asim Munir. One more story from Haaretz. Some say I don't cover these enough. Recently, Arab Israelis staged a massive protest in Tel Aviv, joined by many Jews demanding a Gaza ceasefire. Another analysis, however, was chilling. Secular Israelis must realize that the country's fate is no longer in our hands. It argued that Israel's future is no longer shaped by secular Israelis, but by religious extremists such as Bezalel Smotrich, the finance minister. These hardliners are dragging Israel in a dangerous direction, undermining its future. Many liberal Jews in America who originally supported Israel as a secular state are now protesting because religious extremists are reshaping its identity in destabilizing ways. That wraps up our translation of Moeed Pirzada's video. I hope this English version helped you understand his message better. Please like, share and subscribe to Awami Lens to help our community grow. Don't forget to leave a comment below and let me know what you thought of this effort.